So do we... Oh, jeez. I thought that was Watson for a second. All right, so here's our man. Do we need to grab...
I am in need of something.
What else do we need? Oh, what do we got here? Jack the Ripper offered a gift to each of his victims before killing them. Diverted the attention of the victims before killing them. I would say that's correct. Oh, wow, we got a real board now going. All right, the Whitechapel Killer proceeded in the same way. The Whitechapel Killer must have been accompanying me. The Whitechapel Killer extorted his victims. No. Maybe proceeded in the same way? This be wrong? Yeah, okay. So that is correct. So what's this? I'm going to say it is... Yeah, they killed them both. Or he killed them both. Put this on the board. Excellent. All right. Whitechapel Killer had the same time to kill... Yeah. Okay, so then what's this? Jack the Ripper possesses great physical force, is a corpulent man, great physical force. Okay. So... Oh, we got so many deductions to clean up. Okay, before we do that, let's get him what he asked for. Wanted a pen or something, right? Ah, perfect. And bam.
I am in need of something.
First
Perfect.
Of all, let's place our 4 murders on this map, as well as the spot where the graffito appeared, and the piece of apron was dropped.
Okay. So... Ollie Nichols... Oh, geez. This is a hard map to interpret. Okay, so first things first, we need to place the graffito. Goulston Street, Hanbury, Mitre Square. So, Goulston... Oh, my God. This is so much information. So, let's go with Annie Chapman first, I guess? So, she was near... Where are you? Square. You were over here, right? Do I just place it on there? Polly Nichols, or was Polly the one there? Yeah, that I'm not so sure of. I think, oh no, Elizabeth was up here, right? I'm trying to remember who got murdered up there. Right? Maybe not. Let's see. Well, I definitely know for sure that you were found on Goulston Street. Yeah. Your graffiti was definitely there. That I do know for sure. Mitre Square is where Catherine was killed in Mitre Square. Hanbury. Who was in Hanbury? I think it was either Annie or Elizabeth. So I'm going to start with Elizabeth here. Annie here. And... You here? No, Polly was up here, wasn't she? That means... Or maybe you were... Oh, maybe you were actually there.
Perfect.
Okay,
Watson.
good. Okay,
Let's
okay.
connect each crime scene to the
All right,
one
putting
out
it
of
together.
the others that is the furthest.
Okay, so do we draw this? Oh no, the furthest. Do I just draw between these? I'm confused. Reset? Okay. All right, so I can rub them out. Okay. So we need to draw you to you. And then maybe we're trying to like triangulate this?
You see, Watson, the
there we
murders
go.
aren't grouped together, but seem to be spread out like cardinal
So this is
points around
the
central
cross of them
zone.
all.
The killer obviously wanted to avoid returning to the previous scenes of his crimes.
Right,
assuming that they
okay.
would be more closely watched,
Okay.
or that he could be recognized.
So, the killer lives at the center of this cross.
In the vicinity,
Well,
most
near
certainly,
it.
but
So what's the
how
radius?
near? We cannot afford to get it wrong. If you concentrate, Watson, you will notice that the murders are roughly equidistant from the intersection point of the diagonals.
Roughly.
Let's focus on the night of the double murder. Remember, Watson, it took us 20 minutes to get from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square. Let's draw a line from one to the other.
Okay. Dutfield's to Mitre Square.
Perfect.
There we go.
We didn't make the trip as the crow flies, but that would not harm
So about
our
20
estimates.
minutes to go
Let's
there.
Suppose the killer left Dutfield's Yard at 1 a.m. and arrived in Mitre Square at 1:35 a.m. when he was seen by the two Josephs.
Gotcha.
If he took 5 minutes to change his clothes, that leaves a range of 10 minutes to determine where this man's lodgings are.
Right.
We must determine the area in which one can go from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square in less than half an hour.
Oh.
To do this, let's draw an ellipsis.
Okay.
The length between Dutfield's Yard and Mitre Square corresponds to 20 minutes. By adding half, we get a distance of 30 minutes.
Okay,
By taking
that makes
the
sense.
two right segments, each starting from the two murder scenes,
Oh my God.
on which the sum of the lengths makes 30 minutes.
I didn't know we were in
get
for
our
Sherlock's
ellipsis.
math lesson. All right. Well, you have to be able to have left a quarter like
There we
that.
are,
Oh,
Watson.
there we
Our
are.
killer lives in this area.
Okay,
It's
somewhere in
still rather
here.
a vast area, Holmes.
Yeah, that is a lot
Yes,
of area to
indeed.
deal with.
And our goal is to reduce this area as much as we can. We must consider the fact that the murder at Mitre Square was committed under a certain amount of pressure,
yeah.
given that the killer knew he was wanted for the acts he committed not long before.
And that he
Assume that he
knows
had
the
to do
people
it in a
around
safe
there.
zone, that is, an area not far from where he lives.
Okay.
This is especially true of an act such as the graffiti he carried out after 2 murders.
Oh,
Let's trace a
okay.
circle around this point, with the distance separating it from Mitre Square as the radius. This will enable us to determine
But how
our killer's
big?
safe zone.
Huh. Okay, but we have to draw another one? Oh no, a radius. Okay, like here?
Our killer must surely live
okay.
inside this circle. Now, let's intersect it with the ellipsis that we previously determined.
Ah, gotcha. There we go.
There we are, Watson.
Now we know the rough area that he lives in. That's
Shouldn't we
that's
inform
pretty
the
good
police
narrow
so
down.
that they can concentrate their efforts on this area of Whitechapel?
God,
This is
the
probably
mannequin in the
already
background is so
calling the
creepy.
Inspectors, Watson, and I doubt that they would take us seriously,
Yeah.
even if they were willing to listen to what we had to say. Let's focus instead on understanding the killer's modus operandi. We know our murderer preys on prostitutes who are penniless, weak, sick, or alcoholic. That he
Very
distracts
vulnerable
them at the
members
moment
of
before killing them,
vulnerable
and that he left
member-
them an anonymous
members
message
of society.
inciting anti-Semitic hatred at the entrance of a building occupied by Jews.
Yeah, trying to incite
How would you
racism.
describe this man?
What a coward.
Yeah.
Indeed.
A hateful
He's a person of
coward.
Great cowardice. Let's look at his murders and, in particular, the depredations on the corpses, putting aside that of his stride, because on that occasion,
Right.
his
She didn't
work
get to,
was
he
left
didn't get to finish the
unfinished.
work. So that's why
If we
that
recall
scene is
the
so different.
observations made on the victims and the parts that were mutilated or damaged on each of the bodies, without forgetting the fact that he also removed one or more organs. We can ascertain that our killer evolves during the course of the murders,
Right.
cowardly and
Continuing
still
to evolve,
evolving.
hone
And
his
look
modus
at the
operandi.
location of our first murder, that of Polly Nichols in Bucks Row. It is the most distant from the area our killer would appear to live. Perhaps this murder was preceded by another within the killer's area. I believe a cowardly killer would commit his first murder in an area close to his home in
Okay.
order to find refuge as quickly as possible on carrying out the act.
Holmes, an
That's
idea
reasonable
just
logic.
occurred to me that fills me with dread. This evolution of which you speak.
He will pursue his next victim as long
Yes.
as the conditions permit him to
Until he is
continue
caught,
killing
he will
Watson.
keep killing.
But how could one go even further in this horror? Look at what he did to that woman, Catherine Eddowes.
In order to avoid having to answer that question, we must act with haste and planning. Watson, I suggest you inform yourself on the mutilations sustained by the victims. We played with the idea that this could be an act of vengeance against prostitutes. If the mutilations correspond to areas affected by a specific pathology, perhaps the killer wanted to give an eye for an eye for an affliction he felt the prostitutes he knew
So
were
perhaps our
responsible for.
killer also has
And this
syphilis
trail
or some other
leading to
venereal
Dr. Tumblety
disease.
Holmes?
I also have a few things to look into in the meantime. I still have a primary witness to track down, not to mention old trails I've yet to pursue.
Wow.
See you
Okay,
soon,
this is
Watson.
going on a wild journey. This is
When
not
we
how I
first
thought
spoke
Sherlock
about
Holmes
the
was going
backstory
to
murder with
tackle this
Watson,
story. It's
he was
interesting.
reading a newspaper, The Star, dated September 1st, 1888, I believe.
Right.
Which mentioned similar murders in the
Yes.
preceding
Yes, we do
months.
have that.
I have no chance of finding the police reports, but perhaps I could find some information at the Central News Agency.
Okay.
I must go there at once. Afterwards, I'll go back to see Abraham, the owner of the pet shop.
All
in
right,
Whitechapel.
news agency, then
The
Abraham.
second Joseph's statement would lead me to believe that he may know the man spotted on the corner of Church Passage that night. If that's the case, I must find this witness so I can question him.
Gotcha. Okay. So while we're here, why don't we fill out this deduction board a little bit? Because, yeah, we have a whole bunch of stuff here that we have not made any deductions about. Okay. So a piece of her apron was cut, was found in Goulston Street near the message. Well, it seems like he's trying to incriminate them. Maybe settle the score? Okay, yeah, that is it. He's trying to settle the score. Okay. Rings were worthless. All right, what does this get us? The murderer searched A. Chapman. And the murderer... Okay. The murderer searched Ciedos. Was looking for money or objects of value. The Whitechapel killer is poor. Maybe poor. Yeah. So it seems like all the victims have their possessions searched. Even someone searching would know not to take the rings because they're worthless. Okay, okay. Oh, there's so much going on here. There was no organ trafficking in London. Yep. Okay. Nothing we can do with here yet. And what about this? No, not yet. Okay, this, though, we have a lot of stuff. All right, so there's still more that we can find here. We put all the clues in there, everything in here, and here. We've made all the deductions that we can. Okay, cool. Very cool. And I guess, yeah, let's go to the newspaper. Oh, we'll get you. We'll get you. Don't you worry. All right, and the newspaper was over here. Yeah, Central News Agency. Let's go.
Ah, Bulling is there. It won't hurt just this once.
All right. How you doing, Bulling?
Hello, Mr. Bulling. So, did your colleague tell you about the tip?
What tip?
Ah, I see. I gave him an explosive tip, and he went without
Oh,
you.
yes.
Oh, that's
We
not
did.
very
We did do
sportive on
this.
his part. No doubt he took all of the credit for his discovery.
You're winding me up, eh?
I'm sure Bulling
no.
something to make him believe me.
No, we really did. IOU, there we go.
What do you want?
We have an IOU from your colleague.
I'm not winding you up. The proof is
Yeah.
that he gave me this advance on the debt.
The traitor. He owes me if I find him.
Before I leave, can you do me a favor?
Heck, tell me.
All
I'm
right.
looking for some reliable info on
Yes.
the murders committed in Whitechapel in the months before Polly Nichols' attack.
Reliable? Ha!
Because if he is an evolving
really
killer,
think
then you
you'll
have to
find that
imagine
here?
that he
Fine.
began even
I'll
earlier
be
than
honest with
this.
you. We have folders that group the dispatches from the current year into
Oh,
categories.
jeez.
In the police law category,
Okay.
you'll find the transcripts from the trials.
I don't
and
see any placards,
investigations
though.
we sell to the newspapers that ask us.
Perfect.
Sadly, I am out of time. I'll leave you to solve it, eh?
Sounds
You're the
fair.
detective,
Sounds
aren't you?
fair, Bulling. Oh, yeah. We're the detective. R-D har har. All right, let's figure out what file we need.
The dossiers are full of papers and dated envelopes. I can't open them. That would be too obvious.
Why not?
How can I tell which compartment to look in? No categories are indicated.
I mean, I guess we can look at the mail. Oh, what?
An envelope is torn. I can tell that this dispatch contains economic information.
Okay, so we can leave that out. Is there anything else on these? Oh my god. This is a nightmare. How the hell would you figure this out? Hold on. Is it because is there anything around? Oh, there's all sorts of stuff we can look at here. Okay. Dear Fernand, I am confirming my presence on Friday evening at the club. It will be with pleasure because I must get my mind off things or risk falling into a black depression. Just imagine, the new laddie still has the favors of Janet. But she'll end up forgetting him and giving in to me because I'm not lacking in ideas to get rid of her suitors. Yesterday, I randomly placed a few inventions and science with politics dispatches. After all, they are always harebrained items. Given that the compartments are on top of the other, it could easily pass as one of the new lad's errors. And, as anticipated, he was called in by the boss. As soon as I have the chance, I will show him how, like in the news, everything's in balance. He looks like a halfwit. He could easily confuse the politics with the society section on his right. And this latter with economy, which is its neighbor. What a lovely mess. I don't know how long an intelligent girl like Janet can like a swat like him, but he doesn't have much longer to smile. Okay, so we're getting some clues about this reminds me so much of the puzzle from Sherlock Holmes' Nemesis, versus Arsène Lupin, where there's the guard doors we need to figure out. To improve the dispatch filing, propose major info up. What? High, accept news in brief, minor info down below, except police law. Thus, in future, propose also to invert news in brief, news in brief, which is, for the moment, up high, and police law, which is actually down low. This is, okay. I feel like we need to, chart this out mathematically. All right, furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. Put it with news in brief. Okay, what about this? My dear George, your little brother has had some misfortune. My first week of work was very grueling. First, I was given a spot far from the stove, and I'm very cold in the morning. Next, I have to sort through the dispatches, the most tedious and boring work imaginable. Once the work is done, I must take each envelope to the journalist in question, who won't even deign to look at me. Finally, at the end of the third day, the boss called me in his office to give me a sermon. It seems that I had mixed up the dispatches. I was so worn out that could only protest half-heartedly. He gave me a second chance. So now I'm in a sticky situation. The only hopeful note comes from my colleague, Miss Filthen, a charming young woman who is the only one to give me a smile. She helps me as much as she can and tries to prompt me regarding which compartment I should put my dispatches, because everyone here knows the order of the sections, but no one has bothered to tell me. The lady has so much compassion and slides me notes such as politics and society are on the side, sports is underneath economy, personalities is at the end of the row, front page news is the first compartment, etc. And these confidences are almost words of love from her mouth. I don't think that she likes placing the envelopes on the desk at all because she ends up with some thanks that are very disturbing. I have volunteered for the task, much to everyone's displeasure. Nothing new concerning me, my landlady, but I managed to pay her for the week and she consented to keep me. Don't say anything about my troubles to Mumsy. I don't want to alarm her. But not wanting to lie to her, I have chosen to not write. With warmest regards, your brother Albert. Okay, so we're getting some info here. What's this? Oh my god. The blue envelopes from the dispatch compartment contain confidential facts that must not be discussed in the news. As a reminder, they contain the political personalities, essentially the royal family, and economic issues. These dispatches will be retained only to be diffused when Buckingham Palace or the ministers give us the authority. Okay, can we go in here? Nope. Okay. Oh, what do we got here? All right, sir. As the agency receives numerous dispatches, the filing system that you made appears to be too small, particularly for the world and society sections, which cover too much area and overflow into the boxes below. Police law and culture, respectively. Okay. Would you be able to furnish a device in order to keep only one filing cabinet? While awaiting your response, sir, please accept our best wishes. Okay. Okay, there's another one here. Stevenson's and C Enterprises bill. Repair the wood of the news in brief compartment. £1. Oh, okay, so the news in brief is damaged. Oh, is it this one here? Oh, okay. Okay. News and brief and oddities. I guess. Oh my god. All right, so it seems like we have a lot of information to sort through. Is there anything else that we should pick up before we try sorting through this mess? Some of it it will be pretty easy. Some of it will not. All right, so one of them we already know is below economy. It's here, right? Okay. All right, politics and society are on the side. Sports is underneath economy. Sports is underneath economy. Easy peasy. Back to inventory. Okay. Front page news is the first compartment. So is that traditional reading style where it's top left? And politics and society are on the side. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Front page news is the first compartment. I mean, if I were to read that, I would say... Front page news, where are you? Front page would be up here, right? I mean, that would be my guess, but... who the hell knows? So... economy, sports, there. And if I'm not mistaken, there were... news and brief. Did one of them mention news and brief? Yesterday I randomly placed a few inventions in science with politics dispatches. That's not very helpful. The chance will show him. Like in the news, everything's in the business. Looks like a halfwit could easily confuse the politics with society section on his right. And this latter with economy, which is its neighbor. So, hold on. If that's the case, then society is here, right? So if that's the case, then if society's here, that means politics is here. Okay. Where are you, politics? Okay, this isn't so bad. This is not quite as bad as the other one. All right. Okay. So I believe... oh, no, don't need that. Where is the next one? I think this will help us. Okay. So, high accept news and brief. In future, propose also to invert news and brief, which is, for the moment, up high. Okay, so news and brief I think is correct. Furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. So is that the one... ah, okay, is this weather then? Okay, so... you need to figure out these then. This is like the big... oh god, this is a real nightmare. Alright. Alright, so... feature proposed to invert news and brief. Up high and... so police law is down low. Anything else here that we can use? Let's see. Yesterday, I randomly placed a few inventions in science with politics dispatchers. After all, they are always harebrained items. Given that the compartments are on top of each other. Okay, so... inventions in science and politics are on top and bottom. So inventions in science should be here, right? Okay. Alright, so again, this is going a lot easier than the guardhouse one. Okay. Alright, so what else do we got here? This one I think is correct. We got the information for that. Oh, jeez. Okay. To be too small, particularly for the world and society sections, which cover too much area and overflow into the boxes below. So, the world and society. World. So, world is here then, right? So, yeah. Because these are all the ones that are on top. Gotcha. World and society. Okay, so is this the rule here? So, all this is world, because these are tilted to the right, they're overflow. just same with here. Society, these are all society. This is overflow for society, I think. Okay, so then what is below society? We can get that. Okay, so which overflow into the boxes below? Police, law, and culture respectively. So that means this is police, law, and culture over here. This is personalities? Hell yeah. Ah, this is it. Oh, excellent.
Now, I need to open them
okay, that was actually, that was relatively satisfying.
Openings.
Okay, so discreetly to me means we have to warm water and steam it open. I've played adventure games. I know how this works.
Water.
What do we have here? Okay, can we combine this? Okay, so teapot full of water. Great, so we put that on the stove?
There, that will
excellent.
provide me with steam.
Hell yeah. Now, how do we get this thing lit? Do we have just matches on it? Oh, we do. We do. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And steam should be produced from there, and then we can use the envelope. Aha!
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases.
Excellent.
Now, I need to open them
We're adventure gaming.
And undo the openings.
Hell yeah.
And it looks like I'm in luck. This envelope contains precious information.
All right, what do we got here? Ooh, testimony in the Smith affair. Day of inquest, Saturday, April 7th, so way earlier in the year. Mr. Wynne E. Baxter, the East Middlesex coroner, had an inquiry on Saturday, the 7th of April, at the London hospital respecting the death of Emma Elizabeth Smith, age 45, a widow lately living at 18 George Street, Spitalsfield, who, it was alleged, had been murdered. Chief Inspector West of the H Division of Police attended for the Commissioners of Police. Mrs. Mary Russell, deputy keeper of a common lodging house, stated that she had known the deceased for about 2 years. On the evening of Bank Holiday, the 2nd of April, she left home at 7 o'clock and returned about 4 or 5 the next morning, in a dreadful state. Her face and head were much injured. One of her ears had been nearly torn off. She told the witness that she had been set upon and robbed of all her money. Witness took her to the hospital, and when passing along Osborne Street, the deceased pointed out the spot where she was assaulted. She said there were 3 men, but she could not describe them. Mr. George Haslip, house surgeon, stated that when the deceased was admitted to the hospital, she had been drinking but was not intoxicated. She was bleeding from the head and ear and had other injuries of a revolting nature. Witness found that she was suffering from rupture of the peritoneum, which had been perforated by some blunt instrument used with great force. The deceased told him that at 1:30 that morning, she had been passing near Whitechapel Church when she noticed some men coming towards her. She crossed the road to avoid them, but they followed, assaulted her, took all the money she had, and then committed the outrage. She was unable to say what kind of instrument was used, nor could she describe her assailants, except that there was a youth of 19. That death ensued on Wednesday morning, on the 4th of April, through peritonitis set up by the injuries. Margaret Hayes, living at the same address as the deceased, deposed to seeing Mrs. Smith in company with a man at the corner of Farrant Street and Burdett Road. The man was dressed in a dark suit and wore a white silk handkerchief around his neck. He was of medium height, but witness did not think she could identify him. Chief Inspector West, H Division, stated that he had no official information on the subject and was only aware of the case through the daily papers. He had questioned the constables on the beat, but none of them appeared to know anything about the matter. The coroner said that from the medical evidence, which must be true, it was clear that the woman had been barbarously murdered. It was impossible to imagine a more brutal and dastardly assault, and he thought the ends of justice would be better met by the jury recording their verdict at once than by adjourning to some future date the hope of having more evidence brought before them. The jury returned a verdict of willful murder against some person or persons unknown. The police are making every possible inquiry into the case, but up to yesterday, the 8th of April, had not any clue to the persons who committed the outrage. Interesting. Okay, so this is another testimony in the Tabram case. This is August 23rd. This is the last day of the inquest. Yesterday afternoon, the 23rd of August, Mr. George Collier, the deputy coroner for Southeast Middlesex, resumed the inquiry at the Working Lads Institute of Whitechapel into the circumstance attending the death of Martha Turner of Tabram, a hawker, lately living at 4 Star Place, Star Street, Commercial Road East, who was discovered early on the morning of Tuesday, the 7th instance, lying dead on the first floor landing of some model dwellings known as George Yard Buildings, Commercial Street, Spitalfields. That is a hell of a run-on sentence. I'm not sure if that's how these things were written back then, but goddamn. When found, the woman presented a shocking appearance, there being 39 stab wounds on the body. Oh, that is not dissimilar. Both of these cases definitely ring something similar to the Ripper case, some of them apparently having been inflicted with a bayonet. Alfred George Crow, cab driver 35, George Yard Buildings, deposed that he got home at 3:30 on Tuesday morning. As he was passing the first floor landing, he saw a body lying on the floor. He took no notice, as he was accustomed to seeing people lying about their... I mean, we've seen people just lying in the street. He did not then know whether the person was alive or dead. He got up at 9:30, and when he went down the staircase, the body was not there. Witness heard no noise while he was in bed. Police Constable Thomas Barrett, 226H, said that the last witness called his attention to the body of the deceased. He sent her for a doctor who pronounced life extinct. Dr. T.L. Killeen of 68 Brick Lane said that he was called to the deceased and found her dead. She had 39 stab wounds on the body. She had been dead 3 hours. Her age was about 36, and the body was very well nourished. Witness had since made a post-mortem examination of the body. The left lung was penetrated in 5 places, and the right lung was penetrated in 2. The heart was penetrated in 1 place, and that would be sufficient to cause death. The liver was penetrated in 5 places, the spleen was penetrated in 2, and the stomach was penetrated in 6. The witness did not think all the wounds were inflicted with the same instrument. The wounds generally might have been inflicted by a knife, but such an instrument could not have inflicted one of the wounds, which went through the chest bone. His opinion was that one of the wounds was inflicted by some kind of dagger, and that all of them were caused during life. Henry Samuel Tabram, 6, of River Terrace East, Greenwich, husband of the deceased woman, said he last saw her alive about 18 months ago. Wait, a year and a half ago. In the Whitechapel Road. They had been separated for 13 years, owing to her drinking habits. She obtained a warrant against him. For some part of the time, witness allowed her 12 shilling a week, but in consequence of her annoyance, he stopped this allowance 10 years ago, since which time he had made it a half a crown a week, as he found she was living with a man. Harry Turner, a carpenter staying at the Working Men's Home, Commercial Street, Spitalfield, stated that he had been living with the woman Tabram as his wife for about 9 years. 2 or 3 weeks previously to this occurrence, he ceased to do so. He had left her on 2 or 3 occasions in consequence of her drinking habits, but they had come together again. He last saw her alive on Saturday, the 4th. In Leadenhall Street, he then gave her 1 shilling and 6 ducats, I have no idea, to get some stock. When she had money, she spent it in drink. While living with witness, deceased usual time for coming home was around 11 o'clock. As far as he knew, she had no regular companion, and he did not know that she walked the streets. As a rule, he was, he said, a man of sober habits, and when the deceased was sober, they usually got on well. All right, so this is Mrs. Mary Boosfield, wife of a woodcutter residing at 4 Star Place, Commercial Road, knew the deceased by the name of Turner. She was formerly a lodger in her house with the man Turner. Deceased would rather have a glass of ale than a cup of tea, but she was not a woman who got continually drunk, and she never brought home any companions with her. She left without giving notice and owed 2 weeks' rent. Mary Ann Connolly, the Pearly Paul, who, at the suggestion of Inspector Reed, was cautioned in the usual manner before being sworn, stated that she had been for the last 2 nights living at a lodging house in Dorset Street, Spitalfields. Witness was a single woman. She had known the woman Tabram for about 4 or 5 months. She knew her by the name of Emma. She last saw her alive on bank holiday night when witness was with her about 3/4 of an hour, and they separated at 11:45. Witness was with Tabram and 2 soldiers, 1 private and 1 corporal. She did not know what regiment they belonged to, but they had white bands around their caps. After they separated, Tabram went away with the private, and Witness accompanied the corporal up Angel Alley. There was no quarreling between any of them. Witness had been to the barracks to identify the soldiers, and the 2 men she picked out were, to the best of her belief, the men she and Tabram were with. The men at the Wellington barracks were paraded before Witness. One of the men picked out by Witness turned out not to be a corporal, but he had stripes on his arm. Detective Inspector Reed made a statement of the efforts made by the police to discover the perpetrator of the murder. Several persons had stated that they saw the deceased woman on the previous Sunday with a corporal, but when all of the corporals and privates at the Tower and Wellington barracks were paraded before them, they failed to identify the man. The military authorities afforded every facility to the police. Pearlie Paul picked out 2 men belonging to the Coldstream Guards at the Wellington barracks. One of those men had 3 good conduct stripes, and he was proved beyond doubt to have been with his wife from 8 o'clock on Monday night till 6 o'clock the following morning. The other man was also proved to have been in barracks at 5 minutes past 10 on bank holiday night. The police would be pleased if anyone would give them information of having seen anyone with the deceased on the night of bank holiday. The coroner, in summing up, said that the crime was one of the most brutal that had occurred for some years. For a poor defenseless woman to be outraged and stabbed in the manner which this woman had been was almost beyond belief. They could only come to one conclusion, and that was that the deceased was brutally and cruelly murdered. The jury returned a verdict of willful murder against some person or persons unknown. It's weird that they have juries for crimes with no defendant.
The information excludes the murder of the first woman, Miss Smith. Jack the Ripper can't be the author of that crime. On the other hand, there are
the second one is very similar. The first one is like a little.
Go to the pet shop.
Oh yes, we need to go talk to Abraham. Do I put this letter back? No, it's fine. Whatever. Let's go to the pet shop. Hell yeah, let's go talk with Abraham.